Now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Reentry, an orbital simulator here on the Lord Master channel, in which the previous video, which was the first video of its kind from my channel, where I did the suborbital flight scenario as part of Project Mercury. And for this one, we're going to do an Atlas and an orbit. That's the other scenario too, in which in the previous mission I flew the Mercury Redstone rocket. In this mission, I will fly the more powerful Mercury Atlas rocket. It will insert me into an orbit. From the orbit, you'll get some time to freely test the different flight modes and get a feel how it is to be in orbit. Remember to enjoy the view of Earth. So this would be a longer mission, unless I want to move up with the time scale. And before we get into that, I'm well aware that there is a little thing called campaigns, which I will get into those at some point in the future. But I already did a quick start thing just to get to basics, so that way we can get into all of these. But I only wanted to do these scenarios just to, again, for those who have been watching my channel and that are not familiar with this game, it's just to know what it's like. I mean, you got a bit of a snippet of it from the suborbital flight, but now this is an orbital flight. We'll go around the world at once. That's the idea we're going for here. And also, if you wish that you want me to do free play with these same type of missions again, but this time with a small chance of failure in the sense of one of the instruments or other things like batteries or whatever that may fail during the flight. For those interested in that. Because honestly, I never had a failure ever occur to me in this one. And the random failure says no, so we're not expecting one here. Welcome on board the Mercury Atlas rocket. The thruster is 28.7 meters high with 341,000 pounds of thrust. It will accelerate me to a 669 kilometer by 265 kilometer orbit around Earth. This rocket has 1.5 stages. The boosters and sustainer will initially burn until the boosters automatically stages. The sustainer will then do the rest until orbit insertion. So let's go to the final checklist now. Run that. Okay. Launch control. Then perform radio test on QHF. Read you 5x5 on QHF. 4 minutes launch. Get familiar with the mission using the mission pad. Follow the final checklist to prepare the cockpit for launch. I'm in the middle of that. Verify the time zero run with a cover removed. Just to make sure. Now, switch the battery on. No, other way, Lord Master. Squib arm or retrojet arm. Then wait 30 seconds for the ascent checklist to follow that. But anyways, as we're counting down, I would also have to say that this video was recorded on January 23rd, and on that particular day there was a new update that came out for Reentry, an orbital simulator, which focuses on Project Mercury and a little bit of Apollo regarding the fixes, corrections, and re-implementing issues regarding the Mercury electrical power system and environmental control system. You know, like those over there regarding those things, and as well as the radio command. Well, that's only if we're up in the air. About the request of the retro time. I can always just time the retro manually using the handle on the retro meter, which I never ever mess with that. I mean, you go minutes the other way. So as I said, I never mess with those. And they also rewritten the Mercury fuse logic and rewired some of them to improve realism. 2 minutes to launch. This is a test flight. Once you're in orbit, the autopilot will put you in normal retrograde attitude. Until retrograde sequence, you'll test the flight systems of the capsule and observe Earth. Anyways, so most of those fuses that contains EMER for emergencies has been rewired to their emergency backup logic as part of the sequencer, such as manually triggering functions and logic by pulling the ring handles or trigger buttons, like these there. And they have also updated the environmental control system. Let me get to this side here. To improve water/H2O dynamics, they've also fixed the H2O accumulator to correct issues where the EC has not been capable of maintaining temperature after some time in orbit. The cabin and suit temperature control logic has been improved as well. Oh, it better be. Because I kind of noticed that a little when I did one of those flights late last night, not recording. Because I was doing one of those things on free play, which I may have to do a video on that for those that want me to do another one of those flight scenarios, but this time with a tiny chance of something to go wrong in here, and I'm wondering how I will react to that, in which there are emergency procedures for that, which I'll read some of that to you while we're in orbit later in this video, which I'll try to give my best to explain it all. So, minus 20 seconds. Here we go again.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6.
This is a different rocket, as you can see.
2, 1, 0.
Roger, the clock is operating. We're underway. Loud and clear. Roger, we're programming and roll okay. A little bumpy along about here. Roger. Stand by for 20 seconds. Roger. 2, 1, mark.
We're going up. This is a much more powerful rocket that'll take us into orbit. By us, I mean me. I'm the only one here. I have this bad habit of saying we. Reference. Cabin pressure is holding at 5.5 as it should be. Still going because again, rocket's got more fuel than redstone.
Yeah, we confirm staging on TM. Roger. Edison power is green.
Orbit now. or separate the capsule, which will take a while longer, as this is still an ongoing process. Estimate of how much fuel does that rocket have left before we separate. Because in Germany, you can figure that out. But not in this. Again, I'm only trained on both of those spacecraft. It's just start with Mercury first to, you know, for those viewers that are watching me on video here, taking part in this, to know what it's like.
Spacecraft fired, okay.
I just asked.
Screen, turnaround starting. Okay. Yep, turnaround starting. Should see that the rest of that rocket that I've separated from. If we could see it as the turnaround's ongoing. There it is. Next, we'll do a quick walkthrough of some of the flight modes. Just a moment. Switch back to main. Landing bag off. Emergency retro sequence fuse. Pulse. And pulse. Okay. We're in orbit now. And you can see that little map there, but in actuality we have this also so we can figure out where the heck we're going. And this is the orbital view where there's me over there, and this is the flight path we're going around to. All right. Okay. This test will let you get familiar with some of the flight controls you learned in the academy. First 2 minutes will be guided. Flight controls are over here. This mode settings. After this, you'll use what you learned to observe Earth during your orbit. This is the automatic flight mode. The ACS will control the altitude. You can select between retro or re-entry using the altitude switch. In the previous mission, you tested the fly-by-wire system. Select this system now. Okay. Fly-by-wire. This flight mode lets you manually orient the capsule. Fly-by-wire consumes fuel from the automatic fuel tank. Auto, man, you can see that. Go to the rate command flight mode. Go to the rate command flight mode. Well, there's a way to do that. Manual. Manual, all these things. We don't use them. Auxiliary on. Trying to figure it out because I've done this once. Again, this is actually the second time that I'm doing this scenario, because the first time back in New Year's Eve was something. Anyways, push that all back in as I'm trying to figure out what is what. There it is. This will allow you to manually change the altitude using the manual fuel tank. I was trying to figure that out. Arcs on not. Go to manual flight mode. There you go. This will let you manually control the altitude using the manual fuel tank. This mode bypassing electronics and will also work if the electrical system should fail. If you set the ACS auto to switch to aux on and the RCS mode switch to auto, it will damp the rates. So activity completed. Now set the gyros to freeze, so you should avoid issues with the gyros during your maneuvering. It is good to do this when you plan on doing excessive manual maneuvering. Orient the capsule to the prograde attitude, meaning you'll look into the direction you fly. With the gyros in free, they will drift and won't show the correct altitude after a while. Use the window and the motion of the ground as a reference. Another tool here is the periscope. You can use it to navigate and see the drift and motion relative to Earth, which the periscope is down here. So, let's do some maneuvering here. Roll a bit. Easy. Oh, hey, don't forget. Since you're doing that, it's because you're using autofuel still. This is not full manual. So don't do it too excessively. Just need to look at the direction that they're flying. There we go. I was also looking at this as a way of trying to, it's not necessarily precise, but it'll do. Just want to use manual fuel and don't use too much of the auto fuel, which that would be needed for the reentry unless something goes wrong where automatic systems aren't functioning and then I can do it manually. Since we're in the middle of the Atlantic, I guess I'm going to, since I mentioned before that things can go wrong in certain scenarios, but not this one. It's not expected. Let me bring up the checklist. There is emergency procedures of things that could happen. Although one time from that same scenario, but this is the reason why I'm doing a video on this. It's just to, make it feel like I am trying to complete what I started, even though I didn't do it correctly. And somebody wondering, how could you screw up something like that, Lord Master? It seems the way you sound, with all this work you're doing, sounds like you know what you're doing. Oh, I know what I'm doing. It's just, there was a little thing that occurred. Let me close that window for a moment, because looking out there, it can be a little bit distracting to me. So anyways, I'll open it again when I'm done. So here's what happened. Again, it happened on New Year's Eve, I believe, around there. Where, I mean, in this scenario, during the, before we lifted off, as we were counting down, as I was going through the checklist, the first thing you're supposed to flip is this switch, but I accidentally, you know, pressed a reg, or pulled it, matter of fact, if as it says lock to pull to water seal regulator, which I'm not sure what that does prior to launch, and that's because when I realized, oh crap, and then I was like, I hope nothing bad happens on our way up in the orbit of it. And well, when I was up there, went through the whole orbit once, and everything was a-okay up until, you know, the splashdown. The reentry went fine. It was after reentry is what, you know, really this thing. So again, there's as the altar went down, and then by the time it got to Drogue here, there was one of these switches. I can't remember which. Like it's either it's got to be one of these. Which I had this turned off, or something must have gone off automatically. Where it's like by the time we've reached the Drogue altitude, no Drogue came out, and then again, don't click on it. So just pretend, right? And then I opened that thing up, and then and went past the altitude you're supposed to deploy a snorkel in, and that's when I started to panic a little. And so it was around roughly 15,000 feet is when I deployed the Drogue time, and then by the time we got the main altitude, I had to, you know, the main was supposed to deploy automatically, but it didn't, so I used that. They just pulled it, and it came out as it should, but the rate of descent was still going down, you know, pretty darn fast up till the last few hundred feet before it splashed down. In which I come to the realization that I probably did not flip one of these switches, despite the fact that I was following the checklist. So I don't know if this had to do with anything, or is it really pilot error on my end? I'm kind of not sure. And so when we made splashdown, the capsule tilted, and then you get this image of, you know, the splashdown, even though the radio transition says splashdown successful, mission complete. And I'm like, is it really complete? Because what I'm seeing out there is pretty dark, as in you're under the water. And then you can realize that the only thing that's breaking above the surface is the heat shield and the landing bag. I forgot to mention the landing bag, because that actually came out soon after. As soon as we splashed, that's when it just hit the bag, and obviously it called for rescue for that, and it was floating. It didn't sink, which is something. So it just basically just sat there contemplating. Lord Master, what the hell did you do? So yeah, I scrooched the pooch on that one. Don't want to have that happen again. So anyways, open the window. Hey, where the hell am I? Now, looking forward in the flight direction, you should be able to see the coast of Africa. The Atlas mountain range should be visible, ranging from Morocco along the coast northwards. The highest peak, Tobkal, has the elevation of 4,167 meters. Oh, damn it, stop. I'm trying to reorient. Let's roll this way. Here we go. Ah, screw it. You're not abusing the amount of fuel you'd be using. You're fine. So as you can see, as I zoom out a bit, you're in Africa now, and the periscope down here says so. So check the map, because this is another thing you ought to do is for standard procedure. I mean, it doesn't say anything, you know, about use of radio other than there's this little procedure where get to the map again, where once you get out of there, and if you're not, I mean, this is radio frequency range. That's what the red and green circle means. Outside of it, under low power, the UHF, you're not getting anything from anybody. So you're gonna flip that on. That's what that's for. So I have about an hour and 10 minutes to retrograde. I will eventually increase the time scale to make the thing go faster. Looking down on Africa, it will fade from a beige desert color to a nice green vegetation once you get closer to the other side. I'll do that. So yeah, expected to lose radio contact with them, even though we're not really in talking matters. Hang on. And then I will switch the radio just to demonstrate. Power the radio. So now we're outside it. So hear that static? And flip this on for high power. And let me go over here. I mean, I tend to forget that you use your arrow keys on the keyboard to go this and then the other. So yeah, that's me in the Mercury pressure suit. Anyways, so this is normal, and if you switch that, that's basically turn it off, I believe. High frequency UH. Anyways, you mentioned a green vegetation part of Africa. Easy, tiger. Tap, tap, tap. Okay, just trying to keep it almost out of bounds. So I was looking at that at the bottom. We could use a little turn this way. Don't do it so damn excessively, otherwise you'll get dizzy. Just be glad that I'm not an astronaut in real life, because me in real life, I have a bit of a motion sickness. Even when I travel by car at a prolonged period, I do get a little sick. Or nauseous, that's the word, nauseous. I don't know if you people have that, any of you viewers that are watching me right now. If you have that sort of thing. Okay, here's what I'm going to do now. As I'm going to let this time roll on, and not yet hit the time scale. I'm going to go radio, so I'm going to turn off my headset because I'm going to go take a piss. I'm going to go pee, and then I'll come back here and I'll see to where we're at now at this point, especially when you look down there. So, be back in about a minute or so. So, I'll let this recording continue. Going radio silent. Okay, I'm back. Roll it back into place. And, there you go. Anyways, where the hell are we? Still in the middle of Africa. But anyways, I will increase the time scale very soon, knowing that I don't want to make that video, about as long as my Crusader Kings videos, for those who, subscribe and watch my videos on the channel. That'll be doing that sort of thing. So, give me a moment to know where is it going in parallel of, you know. Yeah, good enough. Okay, I'm going to increase the time scale now. So, again, the speed is 1 as of right now, and then this is 2 times speed, and then you can go up to 5 times speed, and then to 10, and then 20, 50, 100, 500, so on and so forth. Just waiting for the next thing. And stop. Although you can pause and that's press 0. I'm not interested in doing that. I believe that's Lake Victoria over there, is it not? It's around that area, around that region. What I'm seeing down there. I'll pick up the pace again, knowing that nothing much is going to happen while I'm up here other than we'll just orbit around the Earth. Everything would be smooth sailing from here. If you slowly rotate to the right, looking south, you should see the Great Lake Victoria where the borders of Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania meets. It's the biggest lake in Africa, and it's the second biggest in the world, and is named after Queen Victoria. Yeah, I saw that. Okay, now I head up to 4. 10 times speed. Okay, 5. It's 20 times speed. Okay, 100. Okay, stop. You are now past Africa and will soon enter the night side of the Earth. Please follow the pre-dark checklist to get familiar with them. No need to heat the thrusters as you have been using them. Oh yeah, I've been using them quite a bit. Just to be honest, I really want to realign the gyros correctly. Because, you know, I've been willy-nilly with that. So anyways, let's do this. Again, it's only if errors in gyro. I forgot to mention about the, well, I'll tell you that in a moment. So, since we're going to be moving into night soon, if you turn to retrograde, you should be able to see the first sunset from space. Enjoy the view, as it'll become pitch dark. I'll turn around in a moment. Let me follow this. Do you know? We don't know where the sunset is, or let alone where that big orange bastard of the sun is. There's the sun. Hang on, hang on. Ah, reel her in. Reel her in. It's not quite sunset yet, but we get the idea. So the cabin light switches to red. So it's going to be dark out, so turn these lights to red. During the night, you should be able to see the lights from big cities like Perth in Australia. Also looking, well, you should be able to recognize some familiar constellations. If you turn most of the lights and reduce the amount of lights in the cockpit, you'll see the stars better. Oh, I can see the stars just fine. I don't know what you're talking about. And the red scope filter on. That's the red filter on the periscope. The warning lights brightness to the left, so dim it. And disregard those flight modes, which is something I can do over manually. So let's just take this time to look at the sunset before I will pick up the pace again on the time scale. Not quite sunset yet, but yeah, this is what it looks like. Now if you turn off the lights, it is pitch dark in here. F for flashlight. Turn it back on. Trying to look directly at the sun, but as you know, in real life there's this, you know, unwritten rule, I think, and we've learned that the hard way since we were children, and I'm sure you people know what I'm talking about. Hold on. Perform a horizon check. See the bottom of the line gyros checklist. If the altitude is incorrect, first cycle the gyros, set it to cage, and it back to free, then back to norm. Now set the gyros to cage again and align yourself with the horizon retrograde. When ready, set the gyros to norm. Remember to pay attention to the fuel levels and the time of retrograde sequence. 5 minutes before repair to retrograde. Enjoy the view till then. That's what I was trying to do. Gyro cage. Which I'm trying to, you know, take it easy with this. still using manual fuel and leave the automatic fuel alone, which that will be for re-entry procedure. Take a drink. "50 minutes till retrograde." Just to remind myself. As I said before, you're not supposed to look directly at the sun, but I can't help myself because just want to have this view that that we would probably never see again for this period of time, especially for future space flights where it's just become a normal, natural thing to see, and then we would just be doing all kinds of work up there, up here. Look at that. Just watch. The sun's going to be out of view and you're going to see, you know, this horizon from the western sky. Ooh. That is a sight to see. That was a sight to see. Okay, so let's try to turn this spacecraft around to look at where I'm going, and we'll see too that that we'll continue on our way towards Australia, as we're over the Indian Ocean right now, and increase the time scale. So turn this thing around so I can figure out where the heck I'm going, or better yet, where the heck it's taking me to. Where the orbit is taken. That's the real answer. So let's increase time scale again. 20. Okay. 50. 100. Stop right there. Okay. There's Australia. Notice that little bit of rate of descent there. That's Australia below. Okay. Increase time scale again. 20 times. As we're going through this big old landmass known as Australia. Now leaving Australia. Still counting down the time to retrograde. And then eventually we'll start seeing daytime again. See the sun rise. Which, matter of fact, hit one and go to orbital. It's been a while since you looked at that. We're still quite far to sunrise. Even yeah, that's Hawaii. Why it's still dark? Not quite there yet. Okay. 5 times speed again. 18 minutes. 17 minutes. 16 minutes to retrograde. Just need to turn a bit towards the sunrise. Because they're seeing that now. Such a delicate balance. Because I want to capture that moment of seeing the sunrise over the horizon that we could see. And also be sure to run a predate checklist. There it is. There's the sun. Just rising over. It'll do. Okay. Turn the lights on. Photo lights on. Work, damn it. Okay. Red scope filter off. Okay. Bright. "11 minutes to retrograde." So I'll speed it up a bit more. "10 minutes. You may want to run the pre-retro checklist approximately 30 minutes before retro time. Which we're quite past that, I believe. Actually, hang on. Let me work this out. So, before retro time, the retro 5 minutes to retrograde light illuminated. So, you actually should run this right now. Just the temperature of suit, cabin, and inverter. 15 minutes. Maintain retro altitude. No. No, that's 6 minutes. So you just gotta wait for it to illuminate when it says 5 minutes to retrograde. And get down here to look at it. Look at where you're going while you're at it. But then again, when we get to the reentry procedure, this whole crap will correct itself rather than me trying to correct it. It's not like I'm going to try to, do the reentry by fly-by-wire like I believe it was John Glenn that did that. It'll do. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, retro secret starting. Set ACS to auto to ensure it returns to retrograde. If not, you have to Need help and set it back to auto. Follow the free retro checklist. Yeah. As I said, we gotta stop screwing around. Put it back to normal. All of it. Yeah, it's doing that right now. It's illuminated. Yeah, it's starting to turn around now. In anticipation of the procedures for re-entry. Yeah, I guess I used plenty of manual fuel for that. I'll have to admit. And when it gets down to 0 seconds, I don't know what to do. So please remember, after these procedures, do not hesitate, because that's what happened to me during that, you know, sort of failed splashdown when I landed that craft upside down. I was overshot. I was supposed to do the reentry over Texas, and then eventually we'll land down in the east seaboard Atlantic coast, close to it relatively, but instead I landed splashdown, I should say, around there. Oh, it was way off course. So yeah, don't do that again, Lord Master. Just hope you don't do it again. Otherwise, you and I, which is me and my conscience, are gonna have problems. And also, please note on some of the other things, such as the suit temperature is 70 degrees, and the PSI is 5.5, as with the cabin pressure. So that's something to make note about. Primary oxygen is still good, secondary is still full. Even while I was fiddling with the switches a bit, didn't use too much use, so it's 2 minutes to retrograde. Oh. Put that back on, because that's one of the things that I once had a bit of a paranoia of what caused it to screw up for me. It's just that the drogue didn't deploy as it should be. So put that back, even though I feel like I'm kind of, you know, what's the word? Which is the thing, like, then I'm just paranoid. Just say that you're paranoid compared to what you did. You splashed down the capsule, you tilted it upside down, but at least it didn't sink. That's the main difference. It didn't sink. Again, this is automatic. I'm not doing that. I stopped doing the manual stuff. Minus 40 seconds. So obviously you could make out that we are going through Baja California, and the retrograde will take place over around Mexico. Okay. So 15 seconds. That's the Baja we're seeing here. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Trigger to the right is green. And then at 20 seconds, you'll get a retro warning, which it'll have an audible tone. Watch. There it is. And then amber while firing. Just fire the retro. Now, retros are burning. Then, retro fire green once completed, and then you start the re-entry. Favorite retro jets of all of the checklist. Got it. At the retro jet. Get out of here. Retros are separated. Since you're in orbit, the velocities are higher, and re-entry time is longer. Maintain re-entry altitude. If necessary, perform another horizon check. Once the atmosphere is sensed, the 0.05 G light will illuminate. So we, yep, there's the descent rate. We are going down, as it should do. And rate indicator shows the roll rate, but that roll hasn't yet, because we have to wait for 0.5 G, which is that atmospheric drag. It's going to take a while. When the descent rate is, yes, we are going down. And yes, I'm over my home state of Texas, so I live around there somewhere. Yeah, around there. Yeah, it's where I live. But anyways. One thing I never asked. Temperature check. How is it? There's some off-scale temperatures, cabin temperatures low. As it should. You need to keep the thing cool prior to re-entry. Well, I had to check. Altitude check. So you're at 77.1 nautical miles. Check again. Yep, we are going down bit by bit. Yes, as it should. This is why when you do re-entry, do not hesitate to, like first you fire retro, then jettison a retro as soon as possible. Don't wait. Otherwise, you're not going to get the atmospheric drag, and you're going to be, stuck up there in orbit for a while longer. If not, forever. You do not want to, think that. One more time. See you at 75.0 nautical miles. Check again. Still going down bit by bit. I mean, look at the descent rate. It is around 3 feet per second. It's going into 3 feet per second. Just to get ahead of time. So now, as you can see, barely making out. Now we're crossing the Texas-Louisiana border overhead. And since it's taking its sweet time up there, there is no doubt that I will splash down into the Atlantic. Heaven forbid that I, go into re-entry and then land in somebody's beach. Still waiting for 0.5 G, which, hang on, where are we? So, take your time. Trying to, there we go. I was just trying to see, is my call sign on that, on the spacecraft? Because my call sign is Blackjack 1, remember that. Call myself Blackjack because that's my favorite card game. It's a gamble with. Now we will soon be going down 4 feet per second, so it's increasing bit by bit. Be patient. This is not like the suborbital flight where you just go up and down, but instead it's just you have to angle it. I mean, by you, I mean if you're doing this manually, if the automatics fail, in which the automatics is just doing its job. It's, 65.8. Not quite there yet. You need to get them 50 G, then you got it. Now we're over Georgia into South Carolina. Cleared down here. That's by the coast, though. As I said, we will splash down in the middle of the Atlantic. .5 feet per second. Just be patient. That's Bermuda. Is there a way to retract the telescope, or is that does that automatically? Because, you know, there's got to be a way to, you know, just say, hey, get back in. Aha! Is that the way to do it, or is that just a... Okay, the periscope is this part here. Look at it again. Pull. Nothing. I guess it'll do that during reentry. .5. Now it's about to be 5 feet per second, in which it will turn red there, which will mean, yeah, you are really going down. So again, ladies and gentlemen, if you're interested in me making more videos out of this game, do you think I should do those free play little scenarios where, okay, we're sensing of atmospheric drag, maintain reentry at all costs, either in automatic mode or any of the manual modes if the ACS is failing. It's just doing its job. Now it's gonna do that type second degree roll as it should. This is what it's doing now. Just let it be. If the automatics didn't function, then I would have to get it down manually, which would be, I mean, a guy like me who likes to, you know, abuse the system a little bit, try to look at something, but during reentry, I've only done a manual reentry once, and it's not the one where I screwed up. No, that was a different mission. There's a trick in doing that. Again, it's not like the straight down as it was in the suborbital flight. Yep, definitely in the middle of the Atlantic is where we're going. Just thank God it's not at anybody's coast. Otherwise, I would have ruined somebody's day when it lands on the ground. Which none of the historical Mercury missions or any other NASA missions I could think of that's ever landed on land. Okay, G's are climbing. I've learned when I did that manual re-entry one time, but that wasn't recorded on video, is it's like, yes, sometimes get overboard, but the trick is you gotta keep looking at the very center. Don't, you know, turn your craft either left or right, up and down, away from it. You just gotta keep it at the center. But I got faith in the ACS, but in future Mercury missions, for future reference, you may not get lucky next time. And then you're gonna have to take these matters manually, and you just have to, you know, be brave about it. This is what I mean, stay at the center. The center is there. That's where you're supposed to look at directly as you're coming down. If the craft is off-centered away from that, then there's going to be problems. Imagine that, people. For those who might be interested in playing this game, like, can you imagine in a future mission where they tell you to, hey, the ACS is failing, you gotta do the manual re-entry and try to keep it at the center as you're coming down. It feels like it's the longest couple of minutes you'll ever have. Okay, we're out of here now. Things are going to get easier from here. Mission Control, do you read? This is Control, this is Blackjack 1. Do you read? Now we're really coming down now. Blackjack 1, welcome back. 21,000 feet, check drogue chute deployment. This is the part we ought to pay attention to. Remember the last time. Yeah, middle of the Atlantic. Is it true? Anyways, here it comes. Stroke is out. And it is. Not a snorkel point. That should, you know, and the main parachute. Oh, I forgot about this thing. And then the landing bag should be auto. You're welcome. Prepare for splashdown. Yeah. It didn't mess up like the last time. $1,000 feet green light. Alright. Best bag handle out. Green landing bag tail light is green, even though I kinda, you know, did it a little bit different. But still looks good. So there you have it. We've done it again. And that was a hour and 47 long mission since launch. But it had to increase the time scale a bit to the more important moments. So as we slowly come down, I would also have to say that in future I'll be sure to do like, I don't know, a few people are interested in watching me do a little bit of free play with, you know, a little bit more of Mercury. Wonder what happens if I do this whole thing again with a small chance of possible failure on one of these little things on the inside that you may have to examine and look at, which I said I was going to look up the checklists of what you do for emergency procedures and tell you about it, but no, that would be for later missions that could be more important. And as well as doing a campaign. Which is what, you know, most people do, whereas I haven't done it in a campaign yet, which is basically the story mode, so to speak. So, there you have it. So again, willing to do more videos of this. Mission accomplished. After an hour and 48 minutes and 45 seconds splashed down. That's how long that mission lasted. So, mission complete. See you briefly. Just wanted to do that simply for the sake of it. I really used up that fuel, did I? So, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Just wanted to do this little scenario and finally complete this, unlike the thing the last time, which counts as incomplete. No need to do that, which is basically loads you into orbit, tells you to get from it in orbital, fly and return back home. I mean, that's just whatever to me. And it's free play thing I mentioned, especially this thing that I did once with cold and dark panel state. And you go to T-minus 90 minutes off the start, which is an hour and 30. Which I'm sure some of you would say, who's got time for that? And what about a case of failure? Well, I'll probably do another one of this, but this time start in that state and go through this whole thing again unless it goes off. Unless I mean, there are other scenarios like Project Gemini, which I've said before, I'm familiar with that. Which I haven't done any of these. Not quite familiar with how all this works. And then there's the campaigns. I already did a Bridge to the Moon, which is basically an introduction, but that's what the Academy is for. For those who are interested in this game and you want to learn about it, that's what the Academies are for. You gotta learn all these things. Yeah. And especially Apollo and the lunar module. For the far future, I have not done any Apollo lunar module training as of yet. But if you're interested and want me to do a campaign, I'd be willing. So we hope you people have enjoyed this video. It was a long one, at least to some people, but I've done longer videos than this in some other games I played. But anyways, hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next video of whatever mission I'm going to do next. But until then, so long for now.